Welcome back to the Tailosive EV podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We have Nick, who has an augmented reality Cybertruck, and Randy, who has a real reality Model 3, and me, who has a Hot Wheels Model S.
That's the best one.
There you go,
My goodness. We are just the Tesla family here. We are a good representation.
Oh, boy.
We are all over it. Guys, today was when Battery Investor Day should have been.
My heart.
Third week of May.
Woo.
Oh, darn.
Yeah.
We still got nothing. At the time of recording this, I don't know if Elon's announced it yet, but while we're recording, we still don't know when it is. You guys were right. It was delayed. I hope it's just around the corner. But I have a question, actually, about Battery Investor Day. I'm curious to you guys about. You know when they did Autonomy Day, they announced that the full self-driving computer they were talking about had been in all Tesla vehicles for like the past couple weeks. All the ones coming out of the factory. And I think this might be a good idea, but do you think that they would start implementing the new battery chemistry before the Investor Day event? Because if they didn't, and the event was like, okay, this new dry electrode Maxwell battery tech, that will be implemented next year, how do you think that would impact sales? If everyone knew they were going to get the weaker, crappier, faster degrading battery if they bought a Tesla within the next year, or they could wait until the Maxwell dry electrodes. I feel like that would cannibalize some of the sales if they told people that they hadn't been implemented yet. What do you think?
I think now that everything went into lockdown, shutdown, that was the perfect time. If they were to do that, start rolling it out first, and then acknowledging this would have been the time. I think it's the best time to do it. I hope that's what happens, because now they had nothing but time to kind of polish up some stuff. I think it would impact sales negatively if they say, hey, starting, on this date going forward. And I'm like, oh, well, crap. Like, people be like, obviously this factory shut down, but...
All the Model Y owners now would be like,
right,
dang.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is kind of why I'm more and more excited to just keep waiting for a Tesla. Like... it's only going to get better.
Be waiting benefits.
It's only just going to get better. Like I'm grateful I didn't buy a Tesla in 2016. I'm grateful I didn't buy a Tesla in 2018. I'm grateful I didn't buy a Tesla in 2020. Like every time I just keep waiting, it just gets better and better.
But full self-driving is getting more expensive. I'm so glad I got it when I did.
Which is why I have all my reservations in for the Cybertruck. So I'm locked in at $7,000.
He's got those locked in.
7?
However.
Ew. Gross. I would never pay 7. Ugh.
Okay, Randy.
So you get that advantage on us. But what do you guys think? No, legitimately, do you think that when Battery Investor Day happens, they're going to announce that the new chemistry has been installed already?
That'd be really cool.
No, I don't think so. As much as I hope, I would be excited if it is. So don't get me wrong, guys. But this all kind of sounds very advanced. Like, okay, making a FSD autopilot computer. What do they call it? Autopilot 3.0 computer, whatever they call it. I don't remember.
Hardware 3.0.
Hardware 3.0. Yeah. Thank you, Drew. Hardware 3.0. Putting that into a car, I feel like is a lot simpler. Because there are already engineers who have figured out these high density, high GPU, highly optimized processing cores. Apple with their A12Z chip on the new iPad Pro is obviously just so... this technology has been done. That's my point. Like it's not new. It's newly implemented into cars. Like this is the first time that we've seen such powerful computers inside of a car, granted, but it's not fundamentally new. But with Battery Investor Day, I think that it's very, very new. Like this is bleeding edge. I've been watching a bunch of YouTube videos on this 1,000,000-mile battery pack and I forget all the cool electric words that, are, I don't, I'm sounding like an idiot here, but.
The electric words.
Scranton. What? The electric word.
I was just going to start singing that.
Anyway.
Okay.
Like there's
so you say no.
All this changing and shifting technology that has never been done before from these people that I'm listening to. And I don't think that they're 100% ready to put that out into production. I think that they have quite a few test units that maybe they've had a few employees driving around these cars for months and doing testing and stuff. But I don't think they're ready to do. By the way, we've been doing this for the past 2 weeks now. Ha ha ha. If they do, that would be cool.
I agree.
But
I agree. It's brand new, and I agree this is unlike anything other. But the timing of the announcement, I think, is everything, because yeah, this is very new technology and unheard of territory for battery chemistry and battery prices. But the way it can impact their revenue if they announce it before it's out, I think will impact the sales of the vehicles throughout the year. Let's say if Battery Investor Day is in June or July, and they say that it's going to start rolling out into vehicles next year, I think they'll see demand go. Everyone's going to be like, wait a minute, hold off. I mean, they could do something like introduce it in a new vehicle first. So to give more hype towards the Cybertruck, they could say it will be first implemented in the Cybertruck and the rest of the sexy lineup later. They could do something like that, maybe to preserve the sales of saying like, yeah, the Model 3, Model Y, S and X, they're not getting the dry electrode chemistry for many, many more years. Like, it's not going to be soon. So if you're hoping to get one, you should still get one, but this is just more reason to get hyped for the Cybertruck or something like that. What do you think they'll do?
I feel like worst case scenario, and they announce it, and hey, it's coming later, and you see like uproar happen for it. It's not the worst PR that they've done or Elon's done. So I mean, ooh. I think they'll bounce back from it.
But this would hurt sales substantially.
This would, I think. unless you have people who don't care like that about the battery portion of it, which I find it hard to believe why like if you're buying an EV, the core of it, the battery, is the most important part. But maybe use case scenario doesn't mandate that, like, oh, well, if it's more efficient, cool and all, I just needed to get to do this and that type of thing. Maybe they don't want to wait. You got people who like, nope, I'm not going to wait, because they do adopt the philosophy of new will always be better, right around the corner. You'll always be waiting, and they just at one point
that's me.
You have to pull the trigger. You know, you have to at one point. All right, this is where I'm comfortable. What is the cost worth to you now? What are you willing to spend now? What's the value and cost ratio for you that you're willing to pay? If it's worth waiting for you because of the battery and the advancements of it, that's only for you to decide. It's almost like, no, the self-driving is the most important part to me now, and I don't want to pay 10 grand when this rolls around. I barely want to pay 8 grand now. Like, if that's the most important part, they'll still pull the trigger. I think you have a stagnant compromise that's happening here, where they'll say, cheaper full self-driving, possibly dated battery, or more expensive full self-driving, more efficient battery. And it's an interesting staggering.
Making everyone angry.
Or making you have to make a choice depending off of the model that you buy. So if long range is your most important consideration there, then the battery is the most important consideration. Full self-driving at that point is like, well, I don't care about the full self-driving like that. Or maybe you do because it's long range. Like, I feel like to help balance it, when Tesla gets to the point where it's all top notch, here we go, you're good, and it's capped right there, then we'll have that conversation when that day comes. But right now, compromises on what is being prioritized is a personal choice, and the first thing someone's going to consider, what's it worth to you? Last year for me, it was worth getting all those tax rebates and money back and stuff like that, and full self-driving being so cheap, knowing it was going to go up. That's what for me, it was a cost factor. I didn't care at that point. I knew what I wanted with the range, and I knew what model I wanted. I was ready then. I pulled the trigger sooner than I would have liked, but that was just anxiety more or less building up. But for me, what was worth to me was all the rebates and tax benefits I was going to get from it, that I still kind of get to reap the rewards of for having an EV. That was what's worth to me. But that was Randy 2019. Randy 2020 would have had probably a different mindset based off of whatever the battery announcement would have been. Or knowing how quickly full self-driving keeps going up in prices, now it's like, oh, maybe full self-driving is the most important part to me. I didn't get full self-driving right out the door, knowing that the price was still going to be the same. I was willing to wait. But knowing that where Tesla's pushing it now, it's making people have to make a choice then, because people who are going to wait, you won't buy one. If you keep waiting, oh, I'm gonna wait till it slows down. It's you're thinking too traditional about vehicles or maybe even tech. You have to be on the same frequency with Tesla and not wait. They're making you make a choice. So, yeah.
I would say in response, if that's the case and it's not going to be ready, this new battery chemistry isn't going to be ready for a while. What's the advantage of announcing it and talking about it now? Why talk about it in 2020 if you can't roll it out till 2021? Isn't that just going to
because it is being rolled out?
Consumer demand.
My belief like it's ready.
But I mean, my point is maybe the reason Battery Investor Day keeps getting pushed back is that they're trying to get the batteries installed.
I see that
now.
I started this whole premise. I started this whole conversation with the premise that if they're doing it, that would be totally cool with me. No problem.
Well, yeah,
but
obviously that'd be great.
Yeah, I just like Neuralink, they had a event and they talked about where they're going with the technology and what they want to do with it. They were using that as like a kind of PR hiring event to get people who know a lot about that technology interested and involved in the company. And I could imagine Tesla doing something like that. Like, hey, we have this really cool idea. We need some more expertise. Casting call for smart people.
Well, that doesn't impact sales though. The Neuralink thing doesn't impact the current revenue, whereas this would. I mean, it's not the exact same thing, but imagine if you said in July of 2021 we're going to cut all of our Tesla vehicles by $10,000 off the starting price. That would impact sales. Everyone would be like, okay, I can wait a little bit longer if I can save that much. And I think you'll get a micro version of that if you tell everyone that your battery's going to last twice as long if you wait another year or if you wait longer. So is there much advantage? Or I mean, they've already bought Maxwell. They've done all this extensive research. They buy more batteries than anyone. I don't think, personally, they need this event just to call people together to get more battery experts because I think they have the battery experts and they've worked with Jeff Dunn. And I think they have the knowledge and the people. I'm just trying to think what the advantage of announcing it now would be if it's not ready to roll out until next year or next couple of years. Like, I feel like it's just going to distort the market heavily.
That's why I don't think that's the scenario. I think the scenario is that when they announce it, it's ready then.
Like it's been rolled out like for the last couple of weeks.
That would be cool, but like I think you announce it. It's not an Apple event where hey, we announce it coming later this fall type of thing. I think this is something where when you put that type of money into it, that's like okay, hey, just so you know, everyone who's pre-ordered the Model Y and got that, this is what's been going on with the Model Y, and going forward, here's where we're at. Or even they could try to find a way to turn around. Like the reason why we're eager to get back to work with the factories was because we've been putting them in these vehicles, and now it's about to be software unlocked, or whatever the case may be. It would be cool. Hell, it'd be cool if it just said that like if you bought it within the last 12 months, and then here's the level of efficiency you're going to get, and going forward,
right,
here's the new level. And so it's like everybody can still benefit if you're a relatively new owner, and here's how it's going to improve next year and the year from that, and it's going to constantly get better. But people who are owners today are still benefiting from what we were able to do. That would be like dream case, best case, where everybody kind of wins in different levels.
I hope it's that.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I hope so.
I hope it's that. I can't help but think it would hurt their immediate revenue if they just told everyone next year we'll get around to it.
For sure.
I don't know. You're right. Elon has done things in the past that don't make sense and we've been confused by. But ultimately, the battery chemistry is changing. But some teardowns of the Model 3 recently showcased that they actually have power output capabilities built in already, which is making a lot of people think the vehicle-to-grid stuff is just a software update away, potentially. And if that's the case, maybe they already are shipping some of the new batteries.
That's cool.
What do you guys
think
about this whole vehicle-to-grid thing? This is probably one of the coolest EV ideas I've heard all year.
I think it makes a lot of sense for some, not everyone. because I did a big video on the Cybertruck being a great vehicle to grid system because of how large the battery pack would be, and it's a large vehicle. So you'd have lots of, wiring to re-engineer on the inside. But it sounds like they might not even wait for the Cybertruck to turn that on. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense for people who spend a lot of time away from the house, probably. Because I saw a lot of people commenting on, well, how would that work? Because when I drive to work, or like when I wake up in the morning, I don't want my car to be dead because my house has been sucking all the juice out of it. But I think if you're more like someone, maybe like me or Randy or everyone on the podcast, actually, Nick included, someone who drives occasionally but spends a lot of time at home in the daytime, you get solar panels on the roof, charge up the car, and then at night the car powers the house. And yes, there are days where you drive, but for the most part, you're not driving hundreds of miles a day. You're driving 30, 40 miles a day. So there'd still be enough juice in the car to do your basic driving on a daily need, but at the same time, you'd be able to detach your dependence on the grid thanks to being able to power the house with the car. What do you guys think?
Oh, I'm gonna let Randy go. Actually,
Why? I went first last time. You go ahead.
I just realized I keep.
He's thinking.
I keep just taking the thing here. I love the idea of off-grid houses and architecture. Randy, I don't know if you remember that Apple designer video that you sent me.
Yes, absolutely.
I
live
put
off
it up
that
in
video.
a little iCard somewhere because this is literally. I watch this probably once every other month. It's like a 30-minute YouTube video. And I just love listening to this designer who is so passionate about his little home that, it's their summer cabin or whatever up in the woods. And he just puts so much passion into this little off-grid cabin. And I love that idea. Like just having a little cabin, solar with a well and maybe a septic system. And it's just like, you got it. And the thing that's most exciting is you wouldn't have to buy a whole extra battery pack to charge your house with. It would already be in a vehicle I'm planning on buying at some point in my life. Like
you could rent the panels for, $65 a month
if you're in California. But yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what it is elsewhere.
Yeah, I think you have to still lease them in other states. I haven't checked recently. That might have changed.
But still, it's real cheap to get the panels on the roof.
Exactly. And just that idea of being able to build a lot of the expensive part of building a nice little small cabin is obviously the land costs, but also the interior finishes and kind of the little niceties. Like you can get a frame and a roof and a floor done pretty cheap.
Now that was nicety. I like that word. I think you made it up, but I think that's such a cool word.
I don't think I made it up. I've used that word before. If so, maybe I should copyright it and start charging people for it. But when I was specking out one of my theoretical little passion projects, off-grid cabin things, a good $50,000 to $80,000 was going straight to Tesla solar and battery banks and Tesla solar. And like if we could eliminate the 2 or 3 $10,000 power walls and just replace that with a Cybertruck, because I'm only going to need it if I'm there, right? I don't need to have the house on when I'm not there, and it
might
just
as well
makes
just
so much
disconnect
sense.
the electricity at that point.
It makes so much sense.
We effectively do that now,
so
at least at my house, that we cut off AC and everything when we're not here, when we leave, especially when we're gone overnight. We shut it all down regardless, because it's, what are we trying to keep alive? The furniture? Like there's nothing. We take our dog with we're good. We're set. So yeah, I mean, I love the concept. I love the idea, and I think I would love to be anything that gets me closer to being more independent, self-sufficient, not relying on external factors. I will always lean in favor of that. I know $65 to rent the solar panels is cool. I just have a thing about renting that bugs me, and I think I want to just own things outright.
Yeah, I get it.
And I just complete full autonomy, or at least on us, independence, and having full control over the whole power grid. no different than growing your own produce would be cool if we had yard space and stuff like that. The whole idea of you power your own everything for the most part is a cool concept that I think a lot of people maybe even subconsciously don't know, but they're striving for it. It's why we do EVs in the first place. We want to be independent from the gas stations and stuff like that. There's a pride factor that goes into self efficiency with
And
the tools that you already have.
You're not worried on
Yeah.
dependent on someone else.
No.
Well, just practically makes sense. I mean, from the standpoint of, yeah, I know this doesn't. A lot of people probably comment or watching this or listening to this thinking, well, I take my car with me in the daytime and I only come back at night, so what's the point? But there's a lot of use cases, especially now during quarantine time,
For sure.
where people charge up their electric cars, they sit at 80% or 85% after being charged, and now you're pulling electricity from a power plant to power the lights and air conditioning in your home, as you have this giant battery pack that could power your entire house for a couple days on its own. So it's not like by tapping into that battery, your car would be at 0% by morning.
Right.
The idea would just be pull from the grid when it is cheapest and when the rates are low, and then be self-sufficient when the rates are high. Yeah, it's like, why not tap into this electricity we have just sitting?
Even more
because,
so,
you know,
you can pull from your car when you can still go to places and get free charging at on apps that
go get the power and bring it back.
yeah.
Totally.
I would do that. I did that
On
now.
like a cloudy day, like when there's like a cloudy couple weeks and like your solar isn't generating.
I'm sorry, I don't understand what clouds are. What's that?
I know you Californians don't know, but we have clouds in other parts of the country too. And
Never heard of it.
You just go to the one of those free. You go to the mall and hang out for a couple hours, and then you come back and filled up your house. That's pretty
And just
cool.
like in the app, how you have a charge limit, like charge to 80%, charge to 90%. If you had vehicle to grid, you could have a limit on the other end.
Yes.
Don't use
For sure.
Don't let the house drain the battery below this amount, because this
Right.
is like the minimum I'm comfortable with. So even if it's not much, but as these batteries are getting longer ranges and becoming more efficient, we'll get to the point where, especially people, I think the Tri-Motor Cybertruck will be a classic example, because the battery in that thing is going to be huge.
Right.
And you could power an air conditioner and a house with its lights and everything, probably for
I'll be on board for the truck then.
Yeah. And yeah, you'll still have the limit. You'll be like, okay, don't go below 50% or don't
Right.
go below 40%. So you can still go hundreds of miles in a blink of an eye if you need to. But if you can lower your utility bill because of that battery pack you got sitting around, why not? Why
And
not let that be a selling point?
This just makes Tesla even more poised to do some kind of HVAC system or any kind of other home appliance, because if you think right now, it's very dumb. If you were to try this with any of our houses right now, if you suddenly disconnected it from your car and reconnected it to the grid, or disconnected it from the grid or reconnected to the car, whatever, or maybe you don't even have the grid, then all your appliances are going to turn off, and the microwave's going to be blinking 12 o'clock, and your furnace is going to turn on and try to figure out what temperature it is, or whatever. If Tesla could kind of integrate this into just like a whole ecosystem of products, where the car says, hey, I'm going to be unplugging in a few hours because I'm getting close to that lower threshold. Make sure the house is all air conditioned up. Make sure that, maybe there's little batteries inside of the air conditioner. I don't know. Like, just
they want to get into the HVAC system. We've
communication.
talked about that.
It's communication between different things, which is really exciting.
Yeah.
Consistent continuity, which I think will be more and more important in our future. But here's a question for Randy, because you're an owner of a Model 3. Knowing that powering your house off of your car would impact the long-term battery health of your battery, would you do it? If they brought a software update to your Model 3 and, okay, you can now convert it into a Powerwall,
Today,
or would you rather preserve the range?
Today, my answer would be preserving the range. But if my living situation changes, I would not be opposed to allocating Tesla Model 3, battery efficiency to the house. If it's probable in that living environment, I would probably most likely do that. I will always err on the side of independence first, and the reason why is because I think the battery part. I don't think my battery will be affected as much as we think it is.
I don't. Based on reviews and stuff I've seen that people have said after 80,000 miles or after 100,000 miles on the Model 3, the degradation appears to be a lot better than originally expected.
I'm about to hit in more or less 500 miles. I'm about to hit my first 10,000 miles.
Ooh! Woo! Yeah. Congratulations, yeah. 10K.
And
wow,
I've noticed. Didn't know. So I did a thing last week where I ended up charging to 100% for the first time in a very long time, and I noticed my 100% wasn't looking, from the factory new with the mileage.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What was 100% miles for you now?
Hang on. I'll give you all the details. 100%.
Okay. Oh, okay. He's got the numbers.
I got the numbers. Oh, we got the
They tweeted a picture of I think the Jay Leno special, which is coming out next week on the Cybertruck. So stay tuned for that, ladies and gentlemen. That sounds exciting. Yeah. And it's a picture of Elon Musk standing on the Cybertruck bit. I'll send it to you guys.
Yeah, please. I'm not seeing that.
We started my 100% now at 295 miles.
Hey, whoa. 295, really?
200.
That's interesting.
295. Now, I decided to do a test, and I even created a new trip plan because you can allocate mileage, like how you have like the odometer and stuff like that. That's telling you everything, mileage and range. Tracking. I decided to create a new one called On Full Battery, and I've been documenting it. And before I even go into more detail, here's how I set up the car. I've had it set on mileage, not battery, so I can see if the numbers are accurate. As I drive 100% of the time, I have the energy tab open, so I can actually see in live time the meter of if I'm using too much or if I'm regenerating enough battery in the process of it. I've traveled on chill, and I've used the relaxed steering. I haven't gone past 70 or maybe 75 miles per hour at most on the freeway. I have been very efficient just so I can see where we're at. So with all that set up, and I charged this, what date did I tell you guys? I have the date here. This was on Monday. I put it up to 100%. Since Monday, I have driven 100 miles. Yeah, about 100.
Okay.
No, that's not true. Wait. Oh, God, I'm sorry for lying. Today, I'm at 9,575 miles is where I'm at today. On Monday, I was at 9,495. Okay? So that's almost 100 miles. 80 miles. I've driven 80 miles. I am now at 174 miles to go from 295.
295.
From 295, I am now at 174 today. So looking at the battery percentage, I'll send this all to you guys, and we can put Nick can use them as overlays on the video.
Yeah, that sounds easy. Thanks.
We are looking. We're looking at almost 55 or 60% battery still remaining. So the trajectory, the projected range when I'm looking at the meter is still putting me around. It's still putting me around maybe 170 to 180 miles. So I'm staying pretty accurate to what the projections are. So everything's going pretty well. But my biggest alert was that I'm at 295 now as my new max battery.
So does that concern you?
Do you have 315 or 325 to begin with?
310.
310. Okay, so you've lost 15 miles over 10,000 miles?
What did it get bumped up to from there?
There was the software update that brought to 322, but I'm still not sure if that brought everyone to 322. Maybe that was when they switched out with the dry electrode cell.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I got that update. It told me my model was one of those models.
It had longer range
Yeah.
after the software update?
Because I remember juicing it to 100% then, and it went to 320 or whatever. Yeah.
Well, does that concern you that it's dropped that much?
No, I know it's expected, and I know you lose. I mean, from everything that I've read or watched, statistically, you lose the most in the first year. It's expected.
It's been a year.
It's been a year. We're about to hit my year mark, so I'm not shocked. I think I was not expecting 295 for intensive prep 300. So okay, I lost 20 something miles, which was promised 310 when I got it. You know, that bump did not come with it. So the way I see it, I lost 15 miles. No, I'm not shocked, and I'm not doing anything out of the norm. I will keep it at 80% still, and it doesn't change my driving habits. This is just an interesting experiment that I'm playing around with now. I'm more curious.
So what's that, 4%?
It's at what?
Is that a 4% degradation in the first 10,000 miles?
I don't know. I didn't do the numbers on that.
I'll
That's
crunch
what
the
I
numbers. There's
calculated.
probably a number percentage right above my face right now.
There you go. So whatever Nick's on his
Okay.
face, there you go. I'm more interested to see how this next 12 months will actually perform, because then I'll actually
That'll be interesting
I have
too.
true data to assess how, because I think I'm pretty much established on the driving habits and the patterns of where I'm at. The first 3 months I was very cautious about how I did. Then the second 3 months I was probably being more aggressive just to push it, and then I found my healthy balance within the last 6 months. So I'm genuinely more curious about the next 12 months to see where we're at from there, and then from there I'll revisit the does it concern me thing. At this time, no, not really. And knowing where I'm with that information given to you guys now, knowing that, I would probably still, if I wasn't in a condo, I would probably still allocate the grid concept to my car if it was possible. Luckily, for better or for worse, as I keep saying, in this case for better, we're getting the truck whether I want it or not. So, I'm not going to worry too much about it.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah. Oh, she reminds me almost daily. She goes, "Hey, another $1 saved going to the Tesla." She's sold. She's been sold, and I'm like cool. So, and she doesn't know about the grid thing. I haven't even told her about it because I don't want to hear it for another 6 months. About and it does this.
Well, she watches my videos, so she'll let you know.
This is true. She'll let me know. Yeah.
I do a lot of Cybertruck stuff, but yeah.
You know what's possible.
So would you be concerned if you had this much degradation in the second year?
That would put me at another I will
down to 280.
I would include the bump that I got, so that was 322 or 327. What was it? I don't remember my bump that I got.
322, I believe.
322 to 195 is okay. So that's
295.
295. 295 to 322 is about 30 miles, almost 30 miles. If I lost another 30 miles from it, that's I'm judging it from the concept of a tank of gas, right? And how your gallon. It goes from a 14-gallon to a 13-gallon, 13-gallon to a 12-gallon. No, I would not. I would get concerned once I start hitting the territory of standard range. That's
okay.
That's when I'll be like, there's something I'm not.
You wouldn't be far off.
I know, but within the next 12 months, if I got to the point of standard range, then I'm like, I think I have an issue at that point. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that would bug me.
That was the deciding factor between standard range plus or long range. Granted, yeah, okay,
right,
premium, internal, yeah, cool. But no, realistically, it was my the range. And if you're gonna bring me to standard range regardless within 24 months, then Why the hell did I just give you,
Yeah.
$50,000?
Well, then just what happens to standard range after 2 years, right?
Yeah,
Then it's even worse.
Yeah, but
Here's how this compares though. Like, what's when you've been driving your vehicle and depleting the battery, what's the lowest you've ever gone? Do you know? Do you
4
remember?
or 3%? No.
Oh wow.
2%. I got to 2%. I remember.
You got to 2%? Were you going to a supercharger or something, or going home?
No, I got home.
Okay. And was that range? Was it saying you were going to make it, and then you did, and was it performing worse than expected?
No, everything was spot on. You're gonna be home at.
It
2%.
told you it would have 2% left.
Yeah, you'll be home at 2%.
Wow.
And you'll make it.
You cut it close.
I cut it really close, and I remember,
Was that like a road trip?
Yeah, I was. I
Okay.
I went an hour and some change north. We take frequent visits up there. We have family up there, north
Yeah.
from here, and so we went up to the San Bernardino County and driving back. It told me, it's like, hey, you'll be home at 2% at this rate, and I remember driving.
And how long was that before you got there?
When I got 2%?
When it told you it would be 2% when you got home.
The moment I left their house.
So it guessed the whole trip
Wow.
accurately.
Yeah, it did.
Wow.
It was
Okay.
spot on. Even when I was like driving differently. In fact, I recovered some percentage because I was changing my driving at that point, and it told me it was constantly adjusting. Like, oh, okay, well, here's your new mileage, but you're still going to get home at 2%. So whether it's like, oh, the trip is now, it'll take you. The only thing that changed was the timing. You'll get home at 11:30 p.m. to 11:15 p.m. to 11:45 p.m. It was assessing based off how I was driving, but it said like, but you will arrive home at 2%. So
Wow.
as long as I wasn't like equivalent of revving it and just pushing the battery to get there quicker, it did not matter what time I got home. I got home at 2%. I was willing to make that risk because
cool.
there's a supercharging station that was right off the freeway coming south, and if I was really concerned I wasn't gonna make it, I could hit that charging station at the mall before I got home.
Or the car could change its mind on the way there.
It would. It'd say like,
Right.
here you go. You're probably gonna stop in North County, San Diego first. We're gonna have to get you
Right.
there. And so it
Gotcha.
would have allotted, and it was telling me like, hey, here's this thing, and the moment you punch in, I think I said this in the past. Once you punch in, you're gonna get a charge at one of the charging stations. It starts to prep the battery as you get closer, and you get notified like, okay, we're doing this to the battery to get it ready so it can have most efficient hold on the battery when juicing it up. So it was spot on. Yeah, 2% was like, and I said I'll never do that again.
That's pretty much as close as it gets.
Yeah.
Other than 1%.
Was it like dinging at you and like, hey, you need to charge, or was it?
No, it did not give me
I've
anxiety.
It was
seen
just
videos of
thinking.
people,
It
like,
didn't need
trying
to. I
drain
was
the
just
battery.
watching it. Like, oh no.
It was just like, I'm in danger.
We're in danger.
I better be close to an outlet.
Yeah. I hurried home, and then at midnight, I have it set to allow a charge anyway. So I got home. It was maybe 20 minutes to midnight, and I plug it in and search. And it's always at 80% by the time I get up in the morning and go to work and all that.
good.
So
Okay. Cool. That's interesting.
thank you for letting me relive my anxiety about that. I completely forgot about it.
Yeah.
Did your Apple
I was
Watch
having-
curious
have
'cause-
anxiety?
I have anxiety right now about it, and my watch is going to tell me it.
Yeah.
Hey, you're having a panic attack.
I was curious as you're watching the total range of the vehicle go down, because I bet that the 300 is probably a big milestone. That probably feels like a turning point.
It does. Yeah.
That's just how the human brain works. Just big number. Even though at the end of the day it's 4% or whatever, it's not that
Right.
big a difference. It's
I know.
Still.
I know through research, and we've all talked about it's expected battery degradation will happen, and pretty aggressively at the very beginning, but then it somehow for one reason or another it plateaus. And now that if my only cost factor instead of doing oil changes and all transmission is that at some point 5 years from now I'm going to replace the battery, I'm all for it. Like I don't I don't care. Give me a newer, better battery. Let me get a
There
battery.
you go.
Yeah, let me get a battery that has
Buy the dry electrode battery.
That's right. That's right.
Upgrade.
Darn.
Get
you
it
know?
even further.
Huh,
Yeah.
I wonder.
I'm
I
still
wonder if that's
I'm
gonna
still
be a
saving
thing.
costs. Like it's still a cost saver at the end of the day. It's just how you look at it. It's just bigger portions all up front, but I haven't put $1
Right.
to the car, but that wasn't cosmetic. Like
That brings another question. What range would you have to hit for you to want to replace the battery?
depends on the year, how long I've had the car. If I get to standard range between now and the next 12 months, I will think about it, but I don't think I would do it, to tell you the truth. I would probably more about...
Well, you'd have to hit 70% capacity for them to consider it. So
I know, but
if your
I'm judging it
capacity
on
is-
trajectory of how quickly it's depleting. And
right,
70% of my battery...
225.
225.
So your range will have to go below 225 before that Tesla would offer to replace the battery pack. But would you do it at 225 or?
I wouldn't. That's 100 miles.
Mm.
If I lose 100 miles...
Isn't the battery replacement free for the first 4 years or whatever? Or there's some warranty on it, right?
That's if something goes wrong with the battery, not
it's
if
faulty.
it degrades naturally.
Okay.
Yeah. If it's just
So it's not
depleting
Apple
over
Care, is what you're
time.
saying.
No, it's not. Well, no, it's more like Apple Care. It's just if something goes wrong with the battery, we will fix it. But if your complaint is that the range is lower than it was on day one, they won't fix it for that, even if you want to pay them. At least the battery production is so constrained right now, they can't offer that. Maybe someday in the future they'd let you replace it after a year or something. But
I wouldn't do it after a year regardless. I think that's a waste of money. I don't think you're
but
getting the full
I mean,
credit.
would you do it at 225 though?
No. I know people. I
So-
remember I told you that one guy last week, and you're like, "Oh, that's probably his voice." And he has like 100 and something.
The 180 miles.
The 180 miles.
He can. So would you have to be more like that before you'd consider it?
Well, that was his Model S, and the Model S at the time, like, it did not go that far in range, but he does acknowledge, like, oh, that's pretty low. I know people who have 2014 Model S's, and they bought them used and the whole thing, and they don't care because it's like, well, supercharge, whatever, free. It's quick. It's a quick charge. For
Yeah.
me. They don't care, and so their trade off. I think that this nonchalant attitude is because they get free supercharging for the life of the vehicle, and they're like, I will never get rid of this car, and they'll probably replace the battery whenever it comes. But they're like, as long as I have this particular VIN number, I'm not. I don't care where the battery gets because I will get my money's worth out of it. I don't get that luxury. So for me, I think when I charge once a week when I used to drive to and from work for that week. When it starts to become like dire need to be 2 to 3 times a week just to break even on my mileage.
Yeah.
That now compromises my commuting.
Mm-hmm.
It's something I would consider at that point. So whatever that is, if that's 100 miles, if that's 120 miles, if that's 180 miles, I judge it based off of the habits of how I had to navigate to and from work. If I can't use my long range to drive up to a different county to go see family, I have an issue then with the long range because it defeats the purpose of buying the long range for that battery. With that said, though, habits change and lifestyles changes. If I end up working from home and that's my new environment for most of my day, I probably won't swap out that battery for a very long time. And I mean,
You'll wait till it gets really low.
I would wait until it was like 10% efficiency. I would wait.
It goes 50 miles.
Yeah, because at
on a
that
charge.
point, road trips are the exception, not the rule of the game at that point. So that my lifestyle would mandate, just write it out, save the money, and then by that point we would have a Cybertruck anyway. So that would be the new road trip. But it's
I was gonna say,
500 mile.
You could just have the Model 3 behind the Cybertruck and just plug the Model 3 into the Cybertruck.
At what point I would make the Model 3 a dedicated grid. Like, there you go. That's your purpose now.
Frankenstein it to the wall.
Yeah, this is
It
your
just
life
becomes
now.
your power wall.
I'll never forget you. You will now. Your new purpose is not to get me to and from in luxury, but to sustain life in this house.
Yeah, it's just going to be your dedicated power wall at that
That's
point.
it.
That's kind of an interesting idea, because I know they were talking about making them like have a second life, but maybe you don't even need to recycle them. You could just leave it in the garage.
Yeah. Welcome to your new home.
You already own it. You own it outright.
I do.
So,
Yeah.
congrats. This is part of the reason the 35,000 standard range Model 3 sounds more and more appealing to me. It's making more and more sense. I've discovered recently, after watching a few videos and talking to a few people with standard range, that you can make it standard range plus via software package upgrade. So you can buy that range back later if you want.
So what is your
Which
feeling
I find
this
interesting.
week? Da, 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 da.
I just told you.
I know.
That's it.
We'll fix it.
I just
in
mean
post.
the truth is, you can feel, you can feel more comfortable charging the standard range Model 3 to 100% because it's not actually 100%. Because they software cap it to 220, and that would make charging 100% more like charging to 90 than it would be charging to 100, which is less damaging. So
What's 100% for real in Standard Range Plus? What is it?
250.
250. Okay.
Well, Tesla claims it's 250, but real world results vary. So they're knocking 30 miles off the range via software, but you're still getting the same battery pack that you're getting with the $40,000 standard range plus. And later on, you can buy autopilot and you can buy full self-drive. You still have all that same stuff. It's just software locked. So in my opinion, makes more sense to get the 35K model. See how you feel about the limited range, and if it really bugs you and you feel like 30 miles extra would make a huge impact, then you can spend the extra couple grand to up it to standard range plus. But you can do that after the fact, so it's not like you have to commit or you have to return the vehicle and buy another one. Like you can make that decision down the road. Or my logic, I'm not really sure. I'm kind of curious to test this myself. But if the battery pack, like you said, in the first year starts depleting, do they take that off the 220? Or do they just take that off the maximum 250 but not reflect it on the software limitation? I don't know what they do, but I'd be very curious to find out.
Yeah.
If someone knows and is listening or watching, please get back to me, because if someone had the 35K model for a year or two, would it still go to 220? Because the battery pack is capable of doing more, it's just not letting you. I don't know, but I think it'd be interesting to find out.
Yeah, this is an interesting moment for a Tesla owner when you hit the point where you acknowledge that the battery drops, and like you've seen it in lifetime, and you have that moment like, could I have done things differently, not on how you drive the vehicle, but on purchasing? Now it's like, all right, well, if you're losing the battery here, what's it goes back to what we said earlier about with the battery or full self. What's the cost worth to you to extend its inevitable checkpoints that it has to hit when it starts to degrade? And is it worth saving the $5,000 to go from standard range to standard range plus? And like, well, if it's gonna drop this much anyway, and then it locks at that point, save yourself $5,000. From a cost analysis, makes total sense. I would be like, oh yeah, do that. It comes to a point where you start wondering these numbers through your head, if you care that much about it, to go, all right, or could I have got a bigger range and see how far it would have dropped? Because now I'm curious, in my own use case, how is the degradation between the long range and someone who got standard range plus last year? Where are you at today at 100%? And these are questions I think a lot of people don't know, because I don't go to 100%. It was by technicality. Oh yeah, I didn't tell hi guys. I'm talking Nick and Drew so long. How y'all doing? I was going to take a trip, and I ended up not taking that trip. So we we ended up using a different vehicle altogether. But at the time of prepping for everything, we're going to take my Tesla to LA. And going up to LA, I was like, all right, well, I got to get 100%. It's been a while since. And I was thinking about because like we had just talked about, hey, where's the furthest I went? Oh, Santa Barbara, which is north of LA. And I was like, well, I guess now's time to take another trip. And then we just ended up not taking the car, but I got it ready as a just in case. It was a last minute decision. So I was looking at it, I was like, wow, 100%. When's the last time I saw that number? And then I was like, wait a minute, I just curious. And I went from 100% to mileage. And that's when I was like, oh, it's not even 300 miles. But like you said, Drew,
Right.
it's completely psychological where we as humans like, oh, 300, that's 299. If it was 299, I would have flipped my desk. If it was 300, I'd be like, oh, that makes sense. You know, it's like it just doesn't look
It's
right.
the weird way the mind works, because when you bought it, they told you it would go 310.
Yes.
Now it goes 295. It's lost 15 miles.
Or did it lose more based off of that
Yeah,
efficiency
that
boost
software
that I got
update.
for
I don't
free?
know. Or who knows? I mean, that there could be more of those in the future.
Absolutely.
So you could get a software update that takes it back to 300,
To
or
my
maybe.
point, don't wait. Don't wait. Hi, don't wait. Buy when you're ready to buy.
Excuse me, Randy.
Yeah.
Wait until you are ready to buy. And for me, that also happens
You
to
literally just
coincide.
reversed my words. I said,
That
don't
also
wait. Buy
coincides.
when you're ready. Buy when you're ready. Don't wait.
He's saying don't wait for the technology to be perfect.
Yes.
No.
Wait for your finances to be there.
Wait
Exactly.
until
but I'm
you're
still
willing.
going to play it off that I'm waiting on the technology.
Worst case scenario is that here's
You say that offline, Nick. I mean, no, I'm waiting for the battery chemistry to be good.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what it is.
Worst case scenario.
Then the
as-
Cybertruck launches, and you can be like, I'm waiting for standard range Cybertruck.
That's what I'm waiting for. So what we have now for data to show is worst case scenario. The lowest you'll get is what they offer you at checkout. Possibly you'll even get more than that. So if you really want to assess, oh well, what's it going to be like? Go on the website and take a look, and that's worst case scenarios. Exactly what they offer you.
So the EPA is never quite as good as the real world.
Never.
I mean, what was the test you did today? You said you had your full range at 295, and you drove 80 miles?
74 miles, I think it is.
You drove 74 miles, and how much did it take off the advertised range?
Everything. It costs everything.
You had like how much left over?
I have right now today. We have 174 miles. He's punching the numbers.
So it advertised 121 miles were taken off. So does
Yeah.
that reflect the air conditioning or the driving habits maybe or some stuff like that?
Letting
So
it
that's
sit.
why I had the odometer tracking my actual driving, because it's like, all right, I actually went 74.5 miles or something since full charge, and that's what I really want to look at. I don't care what the monitor or what the dashboard equivalent is telling me. I care about what the odometer is actually telling me on my driving, because more times than not, I am driving with the AC off, but I will put it on during the day. If I can roll down the windows, I will. More times than not, every single time I'm driving with my phone being charged. It's docked on the wireless charger, so there's a source of energy being used, and I'm trying to drive very, very passively. I'm not trying to drive aggressive in any sense of the road conditions and stuff like that. I even did an example. Oh, here's something else. I did this 2 nights ago. I have 2 ways to get to a location I'm going. I had to. I could get on the freeway really quickly and get there quicker, or I could take a back road and risk hitting some backlights along the way.
Surface Street,
Surface street, back road, whatever.
not back road. You have no idea what the definition of a back road is, Randy.
Yes, I do.
Yes, it's a 1-lane dirt road that's going up a 15% gradient. No.
I used to live in Florida where I had to take back roads through swamps and stuff like that.
You
So-
used to live in Florida?
I did. I used to.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
In the Miami Fort Lauderdale area. I spent my childhood, the 90s, in there. So yeah, I spent.
Did you like your childhood?
No.
Sorry, I meant like the area. I guess that came out wrong. But
No, not even remotely. No.
Okay, I'm sorry. Oh well. We'll keep that in mind moving forward.
Florida was not bad. I could have done without some of the hurricanes that came through that really knocked us off the grid. That sucked.
You could have used your
So
Tesla
if you had to
as
choose
a
between,
backup power.
yeah, that's true. If you had to choose between hurricanes and California fires, which would you choose?
California fires.
Why?
Because living
You
through-
can pour water on the fire,
No.
but you can't pour water on a hurricane. I don't know.
Oh no! I saw an old vine of somebody outside who's just sweeping the water as it's pouring outside,
Yeah.
just trying to get it off his driveway. Just so it could, yeah. No, I would prefer California fires because I think I have more experience about navigating. About 10 years ago, a little over 10 years ago, San Diego got a very heavy fire that came through and burned down a lot of the North County and the east side of up on the mountains and stuff like that, and it was very, very deadly. And
We had one too. You might have heard of it.
I might have saw it.
You might have
It
come
might still
and
be in your
came up
lungs,
because of
Randy.
it.
Hey, I definitely I used it as music video footage. That's for sure. But
There's a few digger pines still in Randy's lungs to this day because of that trip.
I get constant nosebleeds. Gotta try to shoot out. At least I'm concluding it's from paradise. So
Every laugh is pain.
and every pain is a little funny. But
Yeah.
fires are completely. I
Whoa.
feel like you could protect yourself from a fire, like if you have the right tools, if you have the right infrastructure. A fire might not be as deadly. It's least probable to affect you statistically, whereas a hurricane, anything in the path, the winds, the water, and the flooding, and the drowning, and the devastation that I've seen happen from not just Katrina, but when I was living in Miami, it was the big one in the 90s was Hurricane Andrew that took out a lot of that knocked out a big portion of Florida through Georgia and stuff like that. That's big devastation. That's on a mass scale, and that happens frequently. It can happen from one hurricane to another, where I'm not saying fires are preventable, but there's more. I think fires are reactionary to where you can't
Okay.
stop or predict a hurricane.
Okay.
Okay, so bringing this
Fair.
back
This
to
is not-
electric vehicles.
Thank you,
rolling
Nick.
blackouts in California might be a thing again this summer. Drew, are you prepared for the next set of rolling blackouts? Because I need that Tailosive content every single day.
Absolutely not. I have done literally nothing to prevent that, and probably will not do anything to prevent that. So if my power's out, we are screwed, basically.
Taking a break. You're just taking a break. That's
We
it.
are taking a break. At this point, that doesn't sound that bad. Just a forced pause. But luckily, during the blackouts we had last year, there are a few places where I have friends and or family that have backup generators that I could go to in a dire need of, like, we're out of power for like weeks or something like that, or I don't know, or I just need to get a video up or something. So we have backups basically, if need be, or people that are close enough to, I forget how it is, but people that are close enough to like the hospital, which won't lose power or something like that, even during the rolling blackouts. Like we didn't have power, but friends by the hospital still had power. So we could go to their house and hang out and stuff like that. So stuff like that, basically. But I'm not too worried. I'm not going to be investing in power walls or anything anytime soon
You
for
don't want to
that.
spend
Just because
$50,000 just to fix this possible problem for a few days one summer?
that's not how I would do it, actually. If you look at the renting price of the solar panels, you would have to own them for a long, long time before it would actually make more sense to buy them outright, to be frank.
How much?
And I don't even know if we're going to be in this house as long as it would take to break even, especially if you consider, like, if you're paying $65 a month for solar panels versus buying them outright, it would take over 15 years to the point where it would actually save you money by buying them outright. So with that in mind, might make a lot more sense to just buy, or there's actually a few companies in California now that are offering Powerwall financing options. So you can get a Powerwall and pay it off over time. And then if you do that, you finance the Powerwall, you finance the solar panels. I would only
and then you own nothing.
consider that if the
payments. How fun.
Yeah. Lots of payments, but at least the power company couldn't shut you off, so you would still have something. Because you can't buy electricity outright. Sadly, there's no way to do that.
That's what we do.
So,
buy electricity.
I don't mind. I personally like to avoid paying for things monthly. Like that's why we paid our house off if possible. But electricity is one of those things you can't really pay off entirely. You can become more self-efficient. The truth is, the main reason we haven't gotten solar yet, or probably won't for a long time, is because our power consumption at our house is so dang low that it's funny. If you go to the solar panel section on Tesla's website and you enter your average electric bill, it will stop you and say, please enter a utility bill above $80 a month.
Oh boy.
So if you put anything below 80, it's just like, no, don't do that. Don't enter that. Which is my way of saying
you're not giving us the answer we want to see.
Yeah. If you're not paying more than $80 a month for your power, solar isn't really going to help you that much, especially renting them, because it's going to cost you close to $70 a month anyway. So you kind of just a win for the environment, I guess, which is nice. But personally, I would rather pay Tesla than the power company just because it helps them out. So I don't mind if it even breaks even.
And if you help them out, it helps me out.
Yeah, it helps the podcast out. It helps us.
Oh
all
no,
out
I meant as a shareholder. Like it does me.
Yeah, yeah, the shareholder. True.
A little cup of espresso though, Randy. That's gold.
I'll have to.
You can't do that.
Could you give me my
I'll have
coffee,
to pick
please?
your brain about that later, off podcast. But our last electric bill was under $20.
What?
So that's why we're not really considering.
Like a
There's a
YouTuber
bunch
or
of
something?
Yeah. The crazy thing about this room with all these monitors and lights and everything is that there are 2 outlets in here. 2.
Wow.
So everything is being powered off of 2 outlets, one over there and one over here. In this room has the Wi-Fi. It has 2 computers, 4 monitors, and an iPad that's being charged, and my phone.
Now,
and
how
my
many
mic
power
and everything.
strips do you have?
Several power strips. So we're making the best out of those 2 outlets we can, but still, we typically we're very power consumption aware. So we don't run the AC or the heater, even though it's gas powered. We don't run those unless we absolutely have to. So our limit is we will not turn on the AC until the inside temperature exceeds 85 degrees. And if it's under 85 but still hot, we basically just point the fan at us.
Meetup's going to be at Randy's house.
I don't live that way anymore.
You should also be glad that you can't smell me over the podcast or the FaceTime call, because that would be a very different. Oh man, there's days Randy's like, man, Drew's hair looks great, but man, if you could smell me,
but he smells
you would feel
just
differently.
Terrible. And I'm over here mad, man, I'm so upset you guys can't smell me. I put cologne on today, and you won't even know.
We're not hurting for money. It's just a financial choice, because honestly, we spend the majority of our time on the couch or at a desk or in bed, and you can point a basic box fan at you and feel fine, and you're not sweaty and you feel normal. It's why cool so much of the house if we're not even doing much with it? So
this is how Drew becomes neurotic. Drew's going to become a multimillionaire, and he's still going to be like this. And this is
I think so.
This is the
personally,
inner workings of a neurotic mind. That's wow, like Drew, you could afford modern tech. Nope.
Oh, we could have. Yeah, we could afford to run the AC all day if we wanted. It's just it's a challenge we put ourselves to just to see if we can do it. Our food budget, and
you
again,
have proven
it's
that you
the house
can,
is paid
so stop
off.
punishing yourself. You're making me uncomfortable.
It's fun. We just feel guilty about it when we are careless. So
That's fair. I get
that
it.
has also, you got to keep in mind, I spent most of Taylosiv's early years in an attic that was not insulated, and we didn't have an air conditioner up there. So I grew up through most of middle and high school with a very, very hot upstairs, and I've just become comfortable with it. I'm used to it. I'm used to the temperatures being higher than normal, and that's just the way we grew up. So I don't really question it that much. I didn't grow up with a long time ago, back when I visited John Morrison's office in SoCal, it was really, really hot there. But as soon as we walked into his studio, it was freaking freezing. It was like 59 degrees or something inside. Whoa. And I was like, no wonder you're all wearing jeans and jackets and sweatshirts all that. It's because you set the temperature to like 50. You keep everything super freezing.
Hey, how
so that you can
off the cool persona. You got to be cool.
That's what I mean. Like, I'm the one dad-looking dude walking in there with shorts and sandals, and I'm just walking in with my backpack and like, it's a nice hot summer day. And then I got in there, I'm like, oh God, you guys like it?
It's
chilly in here, and I realized I'm the weirdo.
But
I'm the weirdo with the high temperature standards.
Yeah, what did John smell like? That's what I want to know.
Let's see.
Did he smell like how he
was
looks?
Wearing Old Spice 95 fragrance from 2007. No, I don't. I don't think my nose works that well, to be honest. I can't smell a lot of things.
Are we even talking about EVs at this point? Like, at least the power was
I'm
kind of
sorry,
it stemmed
Nick.
from solar.
A laundry list of things we need to check off.
Okay, there was a laundry list item I had on my inventory. I just have to remember what it was. Oh yeah, in Tesla's own software, some people are disputing this being real, but if you go to your Tesla and search Texas Terrafactory, a location pops up.
That is not what you think it is, Drew.
Well, that's why I said some people have a way of disputing it. So.
Yes, I am one of those people.
We should address. Go ahead, Nick.
So yeah, what Drew's talking about is if you search on a map, Apple Maps. Actually, I saw someone on Twitter.
Okay, I'll do it.
I haven't actually tried it myself. So let's do it live. Watch this live demo not work.
I'll do it on the iPad.
What was the search term, Drew? Terrafactory, Gigafactory.
People were pointing in like, well, it's not working on Apple Maps. People were pointing in like Tesla, Texas Terrafactory. And it was showing up a location in Texas.
Tesla, Terra.
And it appears on Google Maps, I guess.
Okay. Well, anywho.
571 CO Road 132.
Whoa. 571.
I'll just send you the link. You can read it.
Please
there.
do.
But
yeah.
I know it's not confirmed because people can apparently set locations like this, right?
Yeah, that's one of the biggest holes on the internet right now. Anyone who knows what they're doing can set a pin basically in any map system if they want to. There was a bit of a security breach a while ago. Some guy, just to prove his point, created an alternate CIA headquarters or some kind of governmental agency headquarters. I don't remember if it was the NSA or CIA or something. And he actually created like a whole Google like card that comes up when you search, NSA headquarters. It would pop up, and it had like he put on some fake reviews and had a phone number that went to him, and people like called him thinking they were calling the CIA, and this happens a lot. So you can't really trust these little pins, and I guarantee you that it's just some person who's trolling the internet who set up the.
That's
Tesla
a good troll though.
Texas.
Okay, it does. Oh, never mind. It doesn't work. I was just gonna say that's a great troll. I respect whoever did that.
Oh yeah, all of the respect. But
I plugged in Tesla Terrafactory and it took me right to the Gigafactory in Nevada. I was like, "Whoa, it works!" Oh wait, no, wait a minute.
Hey, there's a little
man.
house.
That thing is.
Whoa.
That factory is enormous.
That factory is just a tiny home.
I'm looking at the Nevada Gigafactory. I'm not.
If you do it on Apple Maps and you go to 3D mode and you start zooming, it's a tiny little. Oh wow! It does exist.
I bet that's. Do you think that's the house of the guy
who did it? I wouldn't be surprised.
It's no. It looks like a farm. What is that?
Okay, I found it here. Oh, it has a roadster as the little pop-up. That's funny.
That's crazy. Look at that.
Is this on Google Maps?
I'm looking at it on Apple Maps.
I found it on Google, but anyway.
Yeah.
Is it bothering you that they haven't announced the location yet? Do you think
Yes.
they're still not decided?
They're waiting for Battery Investor Day, I think, at this point. Like, I
Really?
think last week
They just don't.
there was
Okay.
some kind of advantage to doing it earlier, but at this point, we're less than a month away from Battery Investor Day. And
We've said that for 6 months now.
well, but Elon's confirmed sometime in June, and we're
This
almost
is
at
the
end of
new
May.
iPhone SE
He also-
equivalent.
He just said third week of May, like a few weeks ago.
Well, yeah, but if we say that Elon said something, then we can't be held accountable for when it doesn't pan out. So
This
all
is a
the
carrot
license-
on a stick situation. It's right
Oh,
there.
I love this.
It's right. It's right
A
happening.
little bit longer. Yeah, I don't know. I think it would make a lot of sense for them to announce it on stage, kind of have a little bit of fanfare. And honestly, they probably weren't going to be breaking ground until June, even with their accelerated timelines, because they're still. You got to get
You think they want to wait until like right before groundbreaking?
to announce it. I don't see the harm in waiting to announce it. After you start groundbreaking or prepping the ground, then yeah, you have to tell people about it. But before, you
Yeah.
have to line up contractors and make sure materials are available and get the architects to sign off on it, and the
Boo. Oh, this
inspections
is
and
boring.
permits, and that takes a solid couple months. They might have already decided on a location, and they're working on that right
Yeah.
now. But I don't
Have
know.
you seen all
Knowing
the
Elon, he could probably
efforts-
just tweet it out while I'm editing this episode, and I'll have to.
True. It could literally
delete
be
this.
announced any moment,
Yeah.
which is kind of scary to think about. But I think, would it be in, like, to recap, because you guys obviously accurately predicted Battery Investor Day would not be in May. Let's re-enter this discussion. When do you think it'll be? Do you think it's going to be in June, or do you think it'll be pushed back even further?
Further.
I think June.
Okay, Nick's saying June.
there's a
Randy,
case
what
for
month, if not June?
I mean, I won't be.
I don't want to give
depressed
you all
if it
my
doesn't.
answers.
No, give us all your answers.
I'm the master of being right on things. I don't want to ruin my
Oh.
streak. I don't
So
think it'll be
you're
June.
intentionally holding back so you won't taint your
Hey,
record.
yeah, absolutely. No, okay, so, well, yes, no, that's true. I'm holding back, but I don't think it'll be June. I think it'll be probably closer to, like, July.
All right.
I wouldn't be
So-
surprised if it was actually, to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if it was more like August, like, the soonest, but I think...
Or September,
No, I think that's...
October,
So, I'm judging it based
November.
off-
I could see that as a
No.
real possibility.
I see it as the state of the economy. They're definitely moving on
Okay.
the speed of everything else, and I don't think June is it, Chief. I think it's still too soon. You might have certain regions opening up, and you might even have certain states in full effect,
But you said September's too far.
I think September's too far.
All right. So July/August is when your guess is.
I would make a healthy assessment saying, yeah. Well, because you put me on
A healthy assessment saying, yeah.
You put me on the spot. Like, this is how I have a moment. I need time to sit on it, and I think July soonest, maybe more.
Is it safe to say everything they want to talk about has been decided on,
No,
and it's just a matter of technicality, or do you think?
not like location. No, I don't agree with Nick's guess that they're waiting for Battery Day. I think
Of course
they're
you
not.
don't.
I never agree.
No, that's not true.
Show have you ever agreed?
Yeah, I think I don't think everything's locked down. I think they're like pretty locked down though, but I don't think it's 100% in stone. And I don't think that's what's the holdup. Timing, PR, the macro level of presentations and execution and moving things into production. I think that's the biggest factor that's happening right now. And it's if you do this prematurely, it could backfire and actually have like long-term repercussions. And I don't think they want to all this growth that they've had over the last 6 to 12 months. I don't want to see that all be backtracked. as a fan, not even as an investor, just as a fan, I would hate to see it kind of blow up in their face. And I think they are aware. And nothing's going to fundamentally change things between June, July, or August anyway. So why not wait and make sure everything else is up to par?
The reason why not to wait, Randy, is because I've been waiting for so long. I want this to happen already.
Yeah, how many times do they have to bring it up in the earnings calls? I'm going to be so upset if during the Q2 call we have to hear again, well, just wait for Battery Investor Day. We can talk more about that. Like, how many calls have we had to hear that the real announcements will be at Investor Day? Like, it's getting bad. It's getting annoying. Plus, full self-driving price went up.
Yeah,
that wasn't fun. It's going up, but I mean, he gave it another tweet, like a dedicated tweet that's like, "Hey, this is going up, and it's going to be worth $100,000
Yeah.
when it's feature." What did you think that mean?
Oh,
what did that mean?
Yeah, I mean it's not going to cost $100,000.
Good marketing.
It's similar to Apple saying, "We made a display that is as good as a $42,000 display that has the exact color reproduction, but
so they're just saying it's to sound like it's a good deal." 10K is minuscule compared to 100,000, so you're actually getting a steal.
Yeah.
For some code.
I think it's good marketing. Yeah.
Well, at the end of the day, though, it is worth $10,000 today. Like the service that it's providing is basically the full vision of FSD, where you can have it pick you up and drop you off and all that fun stuff.
It's like hiring someone.
It's basically like having a chauffeur, a personal chauffeur.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to have a personal chauffeur,
doesn't know how to park.
That is true. If you wanted a chauffeur,
I projected for a second. I'm sorry, I'm back.
Or what if you could, how you pay for Uber rides? What if you could just pay for an Uber outright? Now you will drive you everywhere, anywhere, anytime, no additional cost.
The chauffeur, Drew. You pay.
But
it's called. You don't
it supports
need your
Randy's
Platinum
drive
anymore,
you
Nick.
wherever you want, whenever you want.
But you still have to. You don't have to park, so that's why it fits in with the full self-driving thing more.
Chauffeurs are amazing, dude. You show up to like a downtown busy place, you just get out and walk into the
Careful, Aunt Sweeney. Your privilege is showing.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think his shirt's gonna burst. He's flexing so hard.
Is that another platinum card I see behind you?
Guys, I've only done that once, and it was for a special occasion, and it was very...
I'm thinking of not like whenever I decide I want to buy full self-driving, just waiting until right before it goes up. Because it seems, I appreciate that Elon has been very open about when it's going up.
Yeah.
Because they could be a lot worse if they just didn't tell anyone and it just suddenly was more expensive one day. That would suck. So if he gives us warnings about it like months and months in advance, I'll hear about it and be like, okay, I'll get it the day before that.
I think
just
it's
so
kind
I
of
feel like
misleading.
I'm getting a deal.
I feel like it's actually pretty disingenuous because
I think it's very misleading.
It's you agree? Oh, no, cool.
No, because especially what he did last time with the $7,000 increase, because they said they were going to do it and then they didn't, which made a bunch of people, I think maybe even you, Randy, buy it before knowing that it was going to get more expensive, even though it didn't.
Yeah.
So the tweets are made kind of to pique interest and to be like, hey guys, now's the time to buy it.
You definitely take advantage of the influx at that point and be like, hey,
right.
look at all these people getting full self-driving. He's like, well, no, jerk, you're saying you're gonna put it on this date, and I obviously don't want to pay that. I had a price range immediate. I pulled the trigger when I did because I didn't have to pay for it outright. Because back in the day, so old. Back then, it was a different cost if you didn't do it right out the door. It would have been higher, and I was not.
That's true.
And I did not want to pay the least amount as possible. If it's the same software, regardless, I'll take it at the cheapest price I can get. And at my time, it was $6,000. All right, fine. Then $6,000 it is. But don't tell me it's going to go up $7,000 and then you don't do it, even though it's going to do that. If you want to be true about, I like that. I like the transparency, but then give me timelines every single year on this date. Boom, boom, boom. Give me your check mark.
Yeah, I think the reason they don't do timelines is because they base it off of features being added. So if they can't get a feature out in time, they don't want to increase the price.
That's kind of the position they put themselves in, though. If you're a tech company, and there are advancements in tech that do require milestones, so to say. And I applaud the efforts of everything that's being utilized and stuff like that. Like, for sure, I get that. But what I don't like is this arbitrary. We're gonna do it on August 12th, and then we'll do it September. Like, give me, hey, after Investor Day, here's why it's gonna go up. After the next earnings call, regardless, it's gonna go. Like, show me your timeline,
Consistency.
with the consistency with how you manage. I'm looking software the same way I'm looking at hardware. You want to move your product line with hardware. Show me the same type of growth on the software end as well, because you are a tech company too.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, thank you everyone for watching and or listening, and we will catch you next week. Hopefully a Terra Factory location or Battery Investor Day has been decided on. If not, we'll speculate on it more. See you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ba-ba.